lying.
Wow.
And they voted against it. Surprisingly.
That's a really good one. If everybody writes to their local council, yes, there's Freedom of Information Act. I mean, there's several.
Yeah, but these two guys don't know about local referendums. Each councillor is selfless. Each councillor, under policy of council, has to act selflessly. So really they're only acting on the presumed opinion of their electorates unless you go to each ward and ask. They've got the councillors can act on presumption. They presume. These two guys need to understand this, and I wish you'd have put more contact information. I suppose you've got that link to where we can sponsor the commissioner thing. But so Matthew, you need to understand this little bit, right? Because this is to do with the whole thing, really to do with how they've taken power from us, particularly in consultations. I said this last time. I don't know if you've heard it or not, but every councillor is selfless. So they're actually only there to represent their electorate. Now, because they were elected by, if Labour Party won in one ward, right, that councillor is a Labour. Because he's got the majority in the ward, he or she acts under the presumption that the majority of people in the ward are back Labour. So unless they say otherwise or anyone else intervenes, the councillor, even though acting selflessly, acts with the presumption of the majority of which they were elected. And if they're elected by Labour, they believe that all those people support all the Labour policies, right? Obviously, the councillors can, look at evidence and so forth and so forth. But you've always got the ability to take a majority control over your councillor and compel them. And that is where the local referendum comes in, or the petition. The thing is, a petition, you can petition the whole ward, right? And that effectively is a referendum, but then you've done it yourself. You've paid for it. And you should never have to pay for a referendum, ever, because you're not expected to. But the petitions aren't always judged on number of signatures. That's just part of the evidence of public concern, as well as facts. You can put a very strong case down, and if it's proves something and that shows that really in law you should act, then they really have to act. But the thing with the councillors, when they say they all voted on that opinion of the secret disclosure thing, you can override that, and you do it if all you have to do is get 5% of the ward to sign a petition, and then that's enough to compel a local referendum in a ward, which costs £806, and then the results of the referendum in the ward actually have to be acted on, depending on however many people offer an opinion, and then that will compel the councillor. So if people vote in the local referendum that they should disclose what you just said, for that, thing that you wanted them to disclose, well, you can do that. It seems like actually 5% isn't a lot, and people aren't doing this. I've just talked in the other video about they got rid of grand juries in civil cases and in a lot of the courts through various acts, but culminating in 1933 apparently, before the war, because civil cases are very powerful, because you've got all these personal matters between people with a lot of money, rich people, or family disputes, splitting up with their wives, money, all these businesses, all of the factory owners, business things, they really didn't want the workers to be making decisions. And I think that 1933 ties in just before the war, when they sent us all to kill each other and then blitz Plymouth and other places, got bombed and so forth. It's all part of taking away the power of the people. You see, everyone now is the right to petition, the right to petition, the right to petition, but the petition's only really, it's you if you've got very strong evidence, but who's going to back you up if the government just, keep knocking it back? It's meant to have the power of the people compelling it, and always in elections and in referendums, you got to get the power of the people. And like in the William Penn case, it was the jury who saved him. But if they remove the jury, then you ain't got the power of the people. The thing with the political parties is they seize the power of the people under the political party presumption in council. But you can always intervene, always intervene, always intervene. The thing with the referendum, it's on yes, no, right? For or against. And that's Magna Carta. It's always lawful due process and procedure, but based on point of law or opinion. You can always override point of law. The thing with this 5G, right? The thing with this 5G, really, I mean, ironically, in a court, if you've got a jury, they can say, like, we don't care about 5G, even if it's harming people. All those documents that you've just said, that you handed out, really a jury could say, oh, we don't care, we'll just fry, right? Now, they wouldn't do that, but a lot of these councils wouldn't have been able to get as far as they are with it, and we're pretty sure that the jury will probably decide on the side of safety anyway. But, I think the councils are jettisoning a lot of the public. You see, I just said this, but Cameron just shed all the Royal Mail and, all the services, but then they got them. Now they've put all these ridiculous policies, they're making a fortune out of it, we ain't got any free services, and then it's all like policy, obey, consent, submit, and that's what's happening to all the beautiful assets now. The council they've crashed and burned it. What the councils have done is they've kamikazed it, they've blown all the money on regeneration, and then what they'll do is they're going to kamikaze all the beautiful assets to private equity, and then they'll take ownership and do what the hell they want with it, and then they're going to sell off all the town centres to China and God knows where, Russia and America, and then that'll all be foreign owned. And then what they'll end up doing is eventually they'll say, oh, well, there's no point having a council now, everyone can just vote online, we don't need councillors. But then it'll all be run by Facebook and YouTube, and central government will have all this digital data, and then they'll all be pressing buttons and checking your pulse on your mobile phone, and then if you get too intelligent or a bit too much muscle on you, they'll have to press a button to make you weaker again, because you might beat them. So we'll all be under some kind of like, it'll be like mowing the lawn. We'll all be like, they'll send the lawnmowers out, to nice and healthy grass, but as long as you're all cut level, like now, really that's what they've been doing to us the whole time, except they haven't had a nice neat lawn. What they've done is they've just, absolutely blitzed everywhere, made it into a complete and total mess. They don't want to have a nice, beautiful country, unfortunately. They just want like a shopping mall mess, and then they complain about crime. If they'd have cared about other people and built them nice places, and they're not building people nice places now. You go into the countryside, like a beautiful site in the middle of the countryside, on a nice country lane, a bit of land, like you squeeze the houses in, ram the houses in, and they're just building monstrosities, Keir Starmer powerhouse monstrosities, right in the countryside, like, 3 stories high with, massive, but it's all rammed in still. You don't get to look at the view. They're building some monstrosities. Starmer is not the saviour of England. You wouldn't build one house unless it was going to be worth building. This is the problem with Rishi Sunak and his wife. They don't want beauty in the world. Why not? Unless it's corporate artwork, it's naff. If there wasn't a penny left in any bank account in the world, but it was beautiful, then why would anywhere need to be? We wouldn't need to build anything. Low-level maintenance on voluntary work. Their whole model their entire philosophy, the vision, the concept of it's a crutch. Gordon Brown's economy is a crutch for a handicapped, disabled person. Really, the law is a crutch. I was thinking this today, the law is for people who are handicapped, socially incapable and incapable to deal with matters. And, even, Jeremy Corbyn and George Galloway with their socialist movement. I mean, when I was, going out and driving, I had friends, I went places. I wasn't jumping on the podium, I wasn't like trying to be on morning TV or X Factor or anything, but that's abnormal. It's not normal till they create it and then they try and encourage people to participate and then get them to think that that's normal. Most people, if they have friends and a active life, it's social. They create these monstrosities. You don't actually really, and they create inequalities. They create the inequalities in life. Really the law is for handicapped people who can't deal with life. If you can't deal with any situation, you have the law behind you. But why do you need something written on a bit of paper in Parliament to be able to act, to handle the situation, or get other kind people? The basis of law is that no one, if there was no law, then people wouldn't want to be nice to each other. That's a ridiculous. It doesn't regard the human race highly. It really doesn't regard the human race highly. Legislators don't regard the human race. They don't, and it's getting worse. In fact, they think that society is getting worse and needs more control. The current evaluation of human beings by Joe Biden is the worst it has ever been in the history of humankind. Joe Biden thinks that humans aren't kind, they aren't born kind, they aren't capable of being kind. Joe Biden thinks that when you're born, you've got a disability and you need like a brace in your mouth to make your teeth grow straight because it would all be crooked. He doesn't think that anyone's born and then suddenly, oh, there's a butterfly. I'm a human being. Oh, nice butterfly. Oh, I found this mummy. Would you like a present? Joe Biden thinks that there's something wrong with you when you're born. I actually probably think that Sunak probably thinks that as well. And for sure, Priti Patel doesn't think that anyone's born normal these days. We're all born with defects and we all need a crutch, a growing frame, able to be socially we're not allowed out into society. You're not allowed out of the house unless you've got your brace fastened to your leg, like your walking Zimmer frame. Gordon Brown thinks that everyone should be given a Zimmer frame. You could call it the Brown frame. Everyone's given a brown Zimmer frame when they walk with a little computer on it that tells them how to respond to everyone. Excuse me, could you tell me what time it is, please? And then like the Zimmer frame says, respond to this person by raising your hand and looking at the watch and then read out the display that it says the time is 5 o'clock, sponsored by Accurist. Have a nice day. You're welcome. This is it. No, the problem with Tony Blair and Gordon Brown is that, where's your ID? Well, I'm me, They are defective, and I really think the whole model of, we're encouraging immigration, so, we don't really trust these people from abroad and they all look the same. So, apparently we really need ID because I might be pretending to be someone else, Well, Rishi Sunak's definitely not pretending to be me, that's for sure, but it turns out that probably he might be a little bit more healthier if he got a house in the south of France rather than in North Yorkshire. It probably would do him, a little bit more of a health benefit if he bought 3 houses in the south of France rather than one in North Yorkshire, according to the doctor. There really is a lack of imagination with these people. Their models, their Meccano set for life, the strong economy, it's all crutch work. It's all crutch work and crutch work, it really is bizarre. And then you've got Bezos, who's wanting, to put a pulse meter on everyone's wrist, beep, beep, beep. Ooh, these workers are getting a bit too intelligent now. They might be trying to, get some votes through, they might become company members and try outvote me on the board. They might even turn up at AG meetings and outvote me. We can't have that, can we? No. We can't have the workers taking over the stocks and shares. What do you think next? They might end up in a grand jury in a civil case against, Amazon versus Mark Zuckerberg. There might be, you could come out with any verdict in his Magna Carta, by rule of law or opinion of the peers. Well, Jeff Bezos versus Mark Zuckerberg in a cage fight. Well, no, it's Elon Musk. Elon Musk in a cage fight with Mark Zuckerberg in a civil court with a jury, seconds to 8, round 2, bing, bing, and the jury decide that, does Mark Zuckerberg owe, Elon Musk £10 billion, or does, Elon Musk owe Mark Zuckerberg £10 billion? It was like William Penn come out with a completely random verdict that he's got no association to the charge whatsoever. Like, the jury decides that, Elon Musk must change Twitter, X back to Twitter and pay Mark Zuckerberg £5 million, or something like that, I mean, if you still have the grand jury in a civil court, right? In theory, I could, list a case in the court on one bit of paper. I could say that I could write, X is a rubbish name, and I'm insulted by it. Change it back to Twitter. Right? You could have a grand jury go there and say, yes, yeah, X is a naff name. It should be changed back to Twitter. Right? How about that for £20 billion worth of lawyers, How about that on a Magna Carta bit of 20 million lawyers on Elon Musk, But we didn't see Gordon Brown or Tony Blair, the champion of the working class, badgering Her Majesty the Queen and the judiciary to restore the juries to the civil courts. No. That's why Tony Blair and Gordon Brown have never seen the working class. They wouldn't know what the working class were if they were shoveling gold nuggets in a coal mine, unless they were shoveling them into the back of David Cameron's car. Gordon Brown and Tony Blair surely were shoveling gold nuggets into the back of David Cameron's car, and now they're, selling off, now we've gone bankrupt and crashed and burned, where did all this prosperity and this strong economy get our local councils after they'd sold off all the businesses? I mean, if they hadn't have sold all the public facilities off and they'd have put the prices up only half as much as what these other companies are raking out of us, then surely that would have covered all the costs for the whole country anyway, These people lack imagination. They're juggling numbers. You'll never get a good society model by juggling numbers, because I'm not a number, you're not a number, no other person is a number, but these people want to turn you into a number, into a plastic card, unless you can say, hello Jack, how are you doing today? You're a human being, what do you need? How can I help you? It's like, can I see your ID? This is citizen number 68524. His credits are 152. He's a little bit sadder than usual at 5.8%. There's something wrong with Blair. Blair is not, it cannot be human. It's not human. It is artificial. And they're trying to create artificial intelligence. They want to try and create intelligence, but these people have strayed from intelligence. They're running the world like the Matrix, like we are a computer program. When we've been through all that, we were, equivalent to, computer programs in ones and zeros when we were amoebas. Now we're actually humans. They claim that we're not intelligent. You know, and then they're the ones who filled us all with, dopamine laden Taco Bell volcano burritos. And then they're insulting us by saying, oh, you need AI to tell you what to do. You need AI to give you directions, Not when you've read the map, memorized the map, know the map, No, trust AI, let the machine tell you where to go. It's a disability. There are more and more handicaps in humans happening every day. The level of handicap is increasing day by day by day. It is a handicap framework. There's got to have been other cultures that have better systems, and we just ended up, taking them out. I mean, when we rocked up in America, there was nothing there. There was no legal framework or system, and they started making their own up. They started from scratch, Look at America now. You might say that it's overtaken us with civilization, with infrastructure, from nothing. And then we ended up, impacting our infrastructure, and I don't think anyone wants to end up with social point system like China, because the social point system, the basis of it is that there's something wrong with you and we're going to make it right. It's not like you are born perfect and, everything you do, there's a reason for it. Everything you do is a response to something, a natural response, and you evolve to do that. As not only survival but a requirement. And if people encourage through example but not force by fine, penalty or perjury, but through example, I don't think that we were that far off at some points along the line in history. But I think with the war, we definitely, they wanted to put the pedal to the metal with the industrial complex. They didn't want us to be hobbits in hobbit villages and have a little, a nice, relaxed, pleasant lifetime, making this, inventing that in a cobbler's workshop, or everyone with their own trade and skill, making gradual advancements. Nothing stopping innovation and technology. But they didn't want innovation and technology through independent experiment. They wanted the Institute of Industrial Innovation and Technology, with everyone, down to the grillstone, making widgets fully automated, automatic for the people. And I think that's the way Gates is going. Gates wants floating, hovering, hovercraft kind of robots, harvesting hundreds of thousands of acres of lands, vroom, vroom, just vroom, harvesting crops and just, vroom, fully automatic for the people, all this land all over America with these big, matrix robot things, sentinels, vroom, vroom, vroom. And apparently we can all be in, leisure pleasure domes the rest of the time. Obviously, the rest of the humans who are not the valuable scientists who are designing and making it all, if they hadn't already been replaced by AI, but by the way, the leisure people who don't really have to or need to do all the technology definitely won't have a vote on who's controlling the robots. That'll be Bill in charge of those, he knows best. So, when you've got your when you've got your plant trainer strapped to your Bill's plant trainer, so your behaviour's all, like square tomatoes coming out, square, it's square humans. After all, what's the use of having a square human head when you can have a plant trainer put on it and you can grow a square skull like they used to do, they claim they used to do in the Aztecs, didn't they, in some of the Egyptian, they claim they found them who was wrapping stuff around to shape people's heads back then. Don't know whether that's true or not. It's they're wanting to plant trainers, and the current training has most definitely been not productive, but it's been to handicappers. So that there's been an intentional retardation for sure, Homer Simpson strategically planned. That's one thing we've got to prove in the courts as well, which can be proved and will be proved on purpose with intent. But all the time they're going, oh yeah, charity, you know, William, you know, Harry and William, charity. Dark Side of the Moon, you know, Prince Andrew, you know, Dark Side of the Moon. Yes, charities. You know, yes, and you know when it's always been like McDonald's, you know, retarding everyone. You can't trust these people. You know, there's something seriously wrong with them, and we need to stop them. You know, people need to start voting on things rather than these corporate elites using. They've stolen. They wouldn't have been able to use all that technology and hoard it and then use it to their own advantage if they didn't fleece us and put us under consent, obey, submit. You know how they regard us. Just read their policy. Consent, obey, submit. And it's like, who's the rep then for all this? Oh, it's Harry and William. Hey, I'm Harry and William with a gleaming, you know, Colgate smile. Ding! You know, hey, we're helping charities, Invictus, you know. Consent, submit, obey. Oh, they're not our businesses. They're just, no, they're our pals. They're Patrick, you know, it's the enterprise, you know. That's number one and number two, you know. It's tosh. You know, it's, you know, who falls for that? You know, Harry, William, charity, tosh. You know, what's the policy? Oh, submit, consent, obey, accept, kneel, yield. You know, yield, kneel, consent, submit, accept, yay, nay. You know, but it's all for charity. You know. Consent for charity, submit for charity, accept for charity, yield, you know, for charity. And we can terminate an account at any time for any reason or no reason. But it's all for charity. So don't worry about that clause. It's not modern slavery. Submit, consent, accept. It's not modern slavery. We're doing it for charity. Oh, yes, Wills. Of course you are. Of course you are. Wills and Harry are doing it for charity. As long as you consent, submit, accept, obey. Consent, submit, accept, obey. Just check out the company policy of the charity. Consent to the charity. Submit to this charity. Obey the charity. You know, get the plant trainer strapped on, you know, so the McDonald's feeder. Get a McDonald's feeder strapped on, you know. Get through the drive-through. You know, it's joke. It's so joke. It's not even funny. You know, we need to get a grip on these people.